Sunday isn't just for the NFL. We got a 7-game slate to talk about here. Welcome, guys. My name is DK. Again, we'll be breaking down a 7-game NBA daily fantasy sports slate. I also cover content for NFL, daily fantasy sports, and for player prop sites like PrizePicks, Underdog, and Parlay Play. The sponsor of the video is Parlay Play. If you guys are not on Parlay Play, you can use the link down below or the code DKDFS for a $100 deposit match bonus. Basically, it's a player prop site. You're building out slips with player props. You can up to 75x your money. They have a lot of different sports. You can mix and match sports as well. So if you guys do want to give it a try, again, click that link down below and deposit. If you do, it does help support the channel. And if you guys look for more content for DFS, I give roster construction videos, player pools, live streams, Discord access, a lot of different stuff. Link down below. Or if you want more prop stuff, you can check out my Patreon as well. All right, so the slate is currently going on tonight. So we recap that in the next video. But yeah, let's get into it. Miami, San Antonio is the first game here. So for the Miami side, the big news is obviously Jimmy Butler. He did not play today due to personal reasons, so we'll keep an eye on that. If he misses, it's going to open up a ton of value. Now, I was very high in the Heat today. My only concern was potential blowout, but the Heat are actually beating the Hawks pretty easily at halftime. So there's going to be a lot of value here if there's no Jimmy Butler. Well, number one, Bam Adebayo would stand out as really good spend up at the top. He would be the clear go-to guy, but a ton of value here. Lowry would look really good. Duncan Robinson, good point per dollar play. Jaquez and Highsmith both had a really good first half. They would stand out as two of the better values in the board. So there'd be an absolute ton to like here from Miami. Kevin Love entered the rotation. We know he's a good point per minute guy. I would have some interest in him. Just a lot to like here from Miami if there is no Jimmy Butler. If Jimmy Butler is in, then not as high in Miami. I would guess that probably Jaquez moves to the bench, but still would have some interest in some of the value plays. If there's no Jimmy Butler, I'm fine going right back to going heavy on the Heat once again. Moving on to San Antonio. So Wembanyama, 8.4K. You know what I'm going to say, right? Up and down, high ceiling, low floor, minutes all over the place, foul prone, blowouts. It's just like, you don't know where you're going to get from Wembanyama because he's a young player. But we've seen this massive ceiling before. And anytime he's going to be low on, like he was really low on this slate. I said in this slate, someone asked me about him versus Jaren Jackson. I said, I would rather play Wembanyama in tournaments over chalk Jaren Jackson. Wembanyama went for 56 and Jaren Jackson got ejected. But it's just, an ownership versus chances of success game. If Wembanyama is going to be popular, then no, I'm not going to play him because there's wide range outcomes. That's the same thing with Jaren Jackson Jr. I always say, I never play Jaren Jackson Jr. when he's chalk. The reason? Because he's so foul prone. I like playing Jaren Jackson when he's low owned. Same with Wembanyama. And Wembanyama's been low on basically every single slate. So he's always someone I have interest in for tournaments because the ceiling is there and he's been low on basically every single slate. No real strong taste in Keldon or Vassell or Zach Collins. Jeremy Sohan, I think, is a pretty solid option at 5.6K. I think he's pretty safe playing the point guard position. Especially, Sohan will look a little bit better too if there's no Trey Jones. If Trey Jones is out, I think Branham becomes a potential value. He should see a slight uptick in minutes. Detroit and Chicago. So no Duren for Detroit. So we have to deal with a Bagley-Wiseman duo once again. And then Ivy and Burks are both questionable. That could open up a lot of value. If Ivy and Burks are once again out, you're going to see big minutes for basically all these rotation players. Cade and Asur Thompson are going to play big minutes, but you're going to see huge minutes for Sasser off the bench. He's been seeing 30-plus minutes. Killian Hayes had a massive game last game. He should see 30-plus minutes. Stewart's already been playing big minutes. They just look at the other guys they have on the bench. They have no one. So you're just see huge minutes in these Pistons if there's no Ivy and there's no Burks. And then without Jalen Duren, Marvin Bagley should start 4.9K. I think he stands out as a really good point per dollar play. You should get Wiseman backing him up at 3.3. I think both are solid options. You might get some Isaiah Stewart at the 5 as well. I think he would look a little bit, he does look a little bit better without Jalen Duren. So there's a good amount to like here from the Pistons, especially if Ivy and Burks are out. If Ivy and Burks are in, then I probably can't get to Hayes. I probably can't get to Sasser, but still think you can look to Cade for tournament. Still think Asur Thompson would be fine, but he feels priced about right now. Let's talk about Chicago. So you know what I'm going to say about Chicago, right? With the big three, it's always on a bigger slate, when all three are healthy. If I do play one of these guys, it's going to be whichever one is the lowest owned. They all look very similar. I don't really have any strong takes on Levine, Vooch, or DeRozan. Russo's questionable if he misses. Probably a few more minutes for Kobe White. Maybe I would assume picks up a couple more minutes, but not really a big deal. So pretty boring team to talk about. Just not much. Craig and Patrick Williams kind of splitting the power forward position. Drummond, we know, is a good point per minute guy. He'll back up Vooch. If Vooch gets in foul trouble, Drummond can break a slate. It is a revenge game if you're into that. So I will mention Drummond. Like anytime Vooch does get in some foul trouble, Drummond can break a slate because of how productive he is. Dallas and New Orleans. So Luka Doncic, 11.8K. I'm never going to say no to him. The price point feels about right, but if you have the salary to get him in there, he has a very high floor. Kyrie Irving, 8.7. Don't love the price point on him. I think I would just rather spending up for Luka. Kind of hard for me to get to anyone else. I just don't really trust this team. Lively's Mets all over the place. You got Paul. Derrick Jones Jr. has played well. I'll give him that. I just don't really buy into this Derrick Jones Jr., but I mean, he's continued to play well. I just like we know he's not a good point per minute guy. So I just like, meh. It's like, I don't think he's going to continue this level of production, that being Derrick Jones Jr. Grant Williams got in massive foul trouble last game. I think that kind of helped Derrick Jones Jr. I think Grant Williams, the plan is to play him 30 plus minutes most of the time. So outside the top guys, not much for Dallas. For New Orleans, I mean, this team's just pissing me off. This team's starting to piss me off, especially Jordan Hawkins, man. This guy's really pissing me off. I mean, it just, you can't do this. You can't play him 41 minutes when I don't play him. But when I play him, 30 minutes, 16 fantasy points. When I play him here, 7 fantasy points in 30 minutes. Like, when I fade, 50 bomb. I'm really getting sick and tired of him. But yeah, no CJ. If Herb Jones is out, they're going to run a very tight rotation. I mean, Daniels and Hawkins both played huge minutes last game. 41 minutes for Dyson Daniels. 41 minutes for Jordan Hawkins. Both would be good point per dollar plays. JV's minutes are kind of all over the place, and Dallas is more of a small ball team. So he's a high-risk play, but always in play for tournaments. Ingram should play huge minutes, 8.5K, no issue with that. Zion's minutes have ticked up. He played 34 minutes last game. I'm okay with him. I don't really think I can stomach anything else in this team, like Matt Ryan or Kira Lewis, De'Aaron Sebron. I don't think I can do it. So let's talk about Denver and Houston. No Jamal Murray. It's hard not to like Nikola Jokic here against the Rockets. Şengün, my boy, really good in the offensive end. Not that good in the defensive end, so Jokic should be able to feast here. I mean, he's basically averaging like 70 fantasy points a game over the last 4, which is just insane. So, yeah, Jokic looks phenomenal. Reggie Jackson's going to start at the point guard position, and I like him. Played 32 minutes last game. I'm assuming around 30 minutes for Reggie Jackson makes him a pretty solid play. Gordon and Michael Porter Jr.'s minutes have ticked up. They get more usage as well. They look good. KCP, I think you can make the argument for at 4.9K. There's a lot to like here for Denver. Christian Brown at 4.7K. Minutes have not been amazing on him, so probably can't do that. But basically all the starters I like here for Denver a good amount. On the Houston side, Şengün going up against Jokic, I think it's a fine tournament play. There is some foul risk, but he's played very well to start the season. Van Fleet, Jalen Green, Jabari Smith, Dylan Brooks, all reasonable options. I'll say none of the other starters really stand out to me, but I'm not going to say no to any of these guys. My boy Tari Eason saw 19 minutes last game, shot 1 of 8. We know he's a good point per minute guy. I think he's interesting for value. Jay Sean Tate got ejected last game, still played 24 minutes. I think he's a reasonable value play. Those would probably be the only 2 guys I would consider off the bench for Houston. Oklahoma City and Phoenix, so really outside of SGA, kind of hard for me to feel good about anyone right now. SGA himself, 10.6K, has a pretty high ceiling and should play high 30s minutes. The minutes on Chet and production's been up and down, but I like his ceiling. Same thing I said about Wembanyama, right? Young player, minutes kind of fluctuating. He's foul prone, but we've seen the ceiling multiple times from Chet, and I don't think he's going to be popular, which means I'm going to have some interest in a low-owned Chet. Giddey, I think, is a bit overpriced. Jalen Williams at 6.3K. Kind of reasonable play. More of a filler option for me. Secondary play. Lou Dort feels priced about right. I don't think I can stomach anything off this bench, though, for Oklahoma City. Talk about Phoenix. Booker's doubtful. Brad Beal probable. Brad Beal, I mean, they said he was on a limit and then played 32 minutes. So, I mean, if Brad Beal's going to play 30-plus minutes at sub 7K without Devin Booker, yeah, sign me up for that. So I do like Brad Beal a good amount. KD feels priced about right. The minutes on Nurkic have ticked up, 38, 33 minutes over the last couple of games. We know he's a good point per minute guy. That is intriguing for Nurkic. Almost a triple-double in back-to-back games. He's been very involved in the offense. I don't really know if I can get to anyone else. Eric Gordon's questionable. If he misses, you should get more run for a guy like Grayson Allen. Keita Bates-Diop's been starting. You know, he's a reasonable filler play, but I don't love it. All right, let's move on to Minnesota, Golden State. So Minnesota, Anthony Edwards is probable. Naz Reid is questionable. Now, if Naz Reid misses, I don't think they like dust off Luka Garza or anything like that. My guess is they probably just stagger Cat and Gobert, and then you see more run for these wings like Slow-Mo and McDaniels. That's what I think they do. I don't think you'll see any Luka Garza against Golden State. Yeah, Ant at 9-1, Cat at 8K. Both solid options. Cat had a solid game last game in 34 minutes, more for 50 fantasy points. He's been a bit up and down, but yeah, I think both Minnesota spend-ups look solid. Gobert, 7.1K, relatively safe play. We know he's going to play big minutes. Mike Conley, 5.2. You're never excited about clicking him, but he's probably going to give you around 25 fantasy points. Slow-Mo and McDaniels, these guys would both look better if Naz Reid is out. I think they see a minutes bump, so keep an eye on Naz Reid news. NAW, Shake Milton, they might see a slight uptick in minutes as well if there is no Naz Reid. Golden State, again, sorry about that. Again, still a little bit under the weather, guys. Golden State, they're on a back-to-back. They're playing tonight. The game just started. We'll see if they rest anyone. We could have some value if they do rest some guys, but assuming everyone's healthy, there's really just nothing that stands out. I mean, Steph's always fine for tournaments. I just don't see anything on this team. They're really spreading out minutes right now, so they would basically be a stay away if they're fully healthy. Now, if they rest guys, like if Draymond sits or Klay Thompson sits, that's where then maybe I'd have some interest in this team. But right now, it's basically a full-on stay away for Golden State. And Portland and the Lakers. So this game should get ugly. Portland, no Brogdon, no Scoot, no Robert Williams, no Anthony Simons. You're most likely in a starting lineup of Skylar Mays, Shaden Sharp, Thibault, Jeremy Grant, and DeAndre Ayton. I think my favorite play on Portland is Skylar Mays. 37 minutes, he played the point guard position, 18 points, 11 assists. I think he's a guy that could even play in a blowout. So yeah, I think Skylar Mays, it's just incredible that I'm saying this in November. Skylar Mays at 5.4K, I think is my favorite play in Portland. Just think about that. It's just, I can't believe I'm saying that. Shaden Sharp, 7.9K, is going to play huge minutes. Nice eligibility, but price point feels priced about right. Jeremy Grant had a massive game last game. He's going to play as many minutes as he can. DeAndre Ayton at 7.2K is going to play huge minutes. If you think this Blazers team can keep it competitive, there are some good plays here just because they don't have rotation players. They don't have anyone they can play. Like, look at this bench. The starting five is going to be Mays, Sharp, Thibault, Grant, Ayton. Thibault himself, I hate playing this guy, but he's probably going to have to play big minutes. Off the bench, you got Kamara, Jabari Walker. You probably see a little bit of Moses Brown, maybe some Rupert, like Chris Murray. They literally, it is so disgusting. Like, this bench is the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. It is so incredibly gross. So yeah, there's a lot to like here for Portland. I think Kamara is interesting because he's the guy that's going to play either way. If the game blows out, which there's a pretty good chance it will, Kamara is a guy that will play in the blowouts. He's interesting for that reason. So yeah, Portland's a very interesting team. And for the Lakers, well, if you think this game stays competitive, I mean, the main guys look good. 80, LeBron, D'Lo, Reeves, Wood. I'm just shocked at the Lakers starting Cam Reddish over Austin Reeves. That made no sense to me, but if Reddish starts again, sure, you can have some interest in him. I mean, if the game blows out, maybe you can start looking at guys like Rui or Christian Wood even. But yeah, this one's a little bit tricky because the massive blowout risk here going up against Portland. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap up the video. As always, if you did enjoy, make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. Really do appreciate the support as always, and we'll see you all in the next video.